Hello, Steve White, Steve White 39. Well, I watched episode 7 of Prodigy, first Con-Tact. It was interesting. My internet was stopping and starting all the way through the episode, which kind of ruined it, but the episode itself was good. One of my main criticisms of this series is that it feels more like Star Wars and more like a Star Wars animated series like the Clone Wars or something than Star Trek. But this episode felt more like Star Trek. Now, the episode starts off with the crew experimenting with the transporter, beaming things like a piece of pie around the ship, different distances. I'm not sure what that was about. Apparently, transporting technology is new to these kids. So that kind of explains why they've been using the ship to land and using shuttles and not beaming in and out. I'm guessing they're going to make that more normal in the future episodes. This is all the teaser before the credits. They beam Murph out onto the outside of the ship and then back inside. I'm not sure that was intentional, but we don't get much of an answer to what happened to the crew. The episode starts off with them actually talking about the fact that we don't know what happened to the crew. That they have a little bit of video of Chakotay and Janeway, and you can actually see that the Diviner's henchman, or whatever Gwen's father's name was, is actually coming through behind them. So he's actually who's boarded the ship. So all we know is that the ship was boarded and that they sent out a warning or an alert of some sort, some sort of emergency alert. And then we don't really touch on that again for the rest of the episode. Now, what does happen though is we find out that Dahl's, God, I hope I'm getting all the names right. I haven't said them for ages. His mother, in a sense, his parent, whoever he grew up with, whoever took care of him, was actually a Ferengi called Damon Nandi. And of course, being a Ferengi, she was horrible. And we find out through the course of the episode, she actually sold him. She pretends that he was kidnapped and that she lost him and she looked for him, but really she just sold him. So it's really no surprise that she's there with a con, and that's the first contact. So she tells him a sob story about how she lost at the Dubbo tables, and she needs to get a crystal to give to someone, basically to fulfill a debt. So she wants to make first contact with this species on this sand planet. So Janeway warns against it because it goes against first contact, because, a whole bunch of Federation things that mean nothing to them. And she actually just says her piece and goes away and just lets them go on with the mission, which I kind of had a bit of a problem with. I thought she should have actually told them not to do it. But they go ahead. They beam down, and then they have like a sandstorm attack them. And eventually they work out that the species there uses these crystals to power their harmonic technology that shapes the sand and uses that. So eventually they reveal themselves, and they are these sort of ethereal sort of light beings that remind me a little bit of like the beings in the Dark Crystal. And of course the Ferengi offers them up a piece of metal to trade, and instead of giving them a crystal like she wants, they perform a song, and she's not happy with that, so she just steals the crystals, or starts to steal the crystals. Dahl fights her, but she gets away with one. He puts all the others back, and then he goes outside, he wrestles her. He doesn't get the crystal back, but he does put his communicator on it, and she leaves after telling him that she sold him into slavery, basically, and tells him that he's weak and stupid and that he'll learn. And she leaves on the ship, and then he gets beamed up before the sandstorm hits him, and they basically find out that because they had trouble beaming him up because he didn't have his communicator. He tells them that I put on the crystal. They beam the crystal back. She loses the crystal, and he manages to beam it back to the people. But the first contact experience, of course, is awful. Their first experience, this alien species with another alien species, is that they tried to take advantage of them. So Janeway reads them the riot act and leaves disappointed. and they feel bad for getting in trouble. But that's pretty much the end of the episode. She also steals some of their, I think, Chimerian or Canarian, I can't remember what it was called, but it's what powers a cloaking device that she's got, a Klingon cloaking device. So she uses that to put a cloak on her ship. So this is all a con. She didn't even need them. She just thought she could get that for the cloaking device. So she totally takes advantage of Dal, totally crushes him, and Gwen commiserates because that's what her father did. So there's not much of a pro-parent message in this episode, but it did feel like an episode of Star Trek in a sense that we went to a civilization, a strange new world. We met a new civilization, and we saw a species we haven't seen before, and it was beautiful, it was interesting, but it didn't go as planned. And I would like to think at some point they're going to start trying to act like a Starfleet crew and taking on some of those expectations that Janeway has on them. But we'll see. We've got 3 episodes left for this season to see what happens. But it was interesting. It makes sense. Dal's character makes more sense, being that he was raised by a Ferengi. And yep, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I enjoyed it. It felt more like Star Trek. It's a pity my internet kept cutting out on me and ruining it. But it gives me more hope for future episodes. I'd like to see them acting more like a Starfleet crew going on missions and having adventures rather than like a renegade Star Wars crew, which is what it's felt like up to this point. But I'm going to go. Thanks. Bye.